All right, so welcome to another episode of Jam
Jam
Buds.
Buds
All right, and your host, Blazing Dragon.
and Madam Red.
And today's episode is really going to be learning about Blazing Dragon, which fits because Madam Red's not really feeling too well, so we're not going to make her talk too much.
No, I'm dying. God bless America. No, it's rough right now, so maybe not. But made him finally to the to the Google Doc. All right, so let's start. And action. Hold on, let me fix my hair. Okay.
I'm leaving
I'm
that part
high. I
in.
have my period and I'm sick. You can't count anything against me. Okay. Who is your favorite Marvel character?
My favorite Marvel character, Spider-Man, hands down.
When were you first introduced to Marvel?
Okay. I was first introduced to Marvel. I don't know specifically which Marvel cartoon it was. I don't remember which one came first. I know it was the X-Men 97 series. 97 is the new one. The X-Men animated series, the Spider-Man animated series. They had like Fantastic Four, Silver Surfer. They had like a bunch of early morning cartoons that were the superheroes. So I'm not sure if I had seen physical comic books before then because of how young I was, and we had never really like went to physical comic book stores, so that's not how I saw it until I expressed the interest in going and seeing those things. So probably probably like 95, like around that time is when I first saw like anything about Marvel. Well, and you know what? That's not even 100% true. I can't even accept. My mother actually used to watch the Incredible Hulk live action with Lou Ferrigno and Bill Bixby. So that was an 80s series, I'm pretty sure. At least started in the early 80s, whatever. When I used to watch that with her and then my cartoons. So that was probably really where it got me into Marvel. And then Spider-Man, the Spider-Man cartoon was awesome.
Do you know that Arnold Schwarzenegger was not shit and he used to make fun of Lou Ferrigno and like mock him and
I
like
did know that
make him
actually.
feel make him feel real bad
I
before
actually did
competition so
know
that
that.
he wouldn't, yeah.
I would like to hope, I've never followed up on it. I would like to hope that in their older age, once they stop being so competitive, that hopefully Arnold apologized for that. So, because I'd like to think he'd be a better and bigger person to apologize for something like that. But I actually did know that because I'm a Lou
Yeah.
Ferrigno fan. I actually like that they have Lou Ferrigno in um, the Hulk movie, the one in the MCU. He's a security guard. And
That's really cool.
it's a yeah, Bruce, the one that the Hulk, he distracts him by giving him a pizza to let him through, if I'm not mistaken.
Pizza pizza. So when you first got into Marvel, was it through a comic book or was it through a show? Well,
I'm
probably
gonna.
through a show because you couldn't
I was
you
gonna say
couldn't read.
it definitely was the show. Well, the shows definitely got me into like certain characters, but comic books then afterwards is what got me into Marvel as a whole because the way that they used to connect the universes.
Mhm.
Um, like the shows would sometimes have other characters appear, but it wasn't for like major storylines. And at that time, there weren't a lot of cartoons that were even running at the same time. Like I think Spider-Man made an appearance in the X-Men. No, he actually did not make any appearances in the X-Men animated series, and I know that because I just watched it.
I'm
But
crying.
in Spider-Man, he visits the X-Men at one point um, when he doesn't realize what's going on because his powers are starting to actually evolve and mutate, and he visits them. And I think he also visits the Fantastic Four. In the comics, like he also does all of those things, but then in their comics, it also shows that. And then in the comics, then they have like big events like Infinity Gauntlet, um, Countdown to the Crisis. No, Countdown to Incursion. Time runs out. Crisis is DC. Um, both of them have had so many multiverse ending comics where they're like, the multiverse is ending. Just kidding. We're just restarting it with everybody younger and fresher and newer because that has to explain why they're not aging when they've been around since 1930. So, that's why there are certain origins for some characters that actually don't work anymore and can't be done for the movies because they're, at this point, they would be like 100 years old. And they're not characters that have that type of power. Like, so even in the comics, they've had to like rejuvenate them through like scientific means or like their power. Some like they learned all of a sudden their power like slows their aging process or some like shit.
Right.
So because like they try to like have like time pass but not pass. But yeah, the comics, like the comic books, definitely got like the shows get was like a tip in the water, and then the comics were like everything else. And then actually even around that time, they also had some good not around that, so it was later. But they used to be Marvel crossover with like arcade games like Street Fighter and Tech and like Marvel vs. Capcom that they made. And they had a few side scroller beat 'em up ones that were pretty popular. So I can't even say that they didn't have Marvel games back then because they had it. They actually had a few. They were pretty cool.
That sounds like fun.
They were. The side-scrolling beat 'em up ones. In fact, I think they just actually released one. That's a side-scroller X-Men beat 'em up, and they have a bunch of characters. And I think it's got local and multiplayer co-op. And you literally, it's like the Streets of Rage, where you have like the screen, and then like you're in the middle, and like enemies come from like the sides and all around, and you're moving around. You're just punching and doing your abilities and shit, just fighting waves, and then like the screen clears, and you walk to like the next screen, and you fight more enemies, like the old like Ninja Turtle game.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I can't remember what it's called, but I wanted to get it, but it hasn't been on sale, at least as far as I've seen. I gotta add it to my wish list, so when it goes on sale, it'll actually let me know.
What is your favorite Star Wars movie?
My favorite Star Wars movie, and it's always controversial to Star Wars fans when I say it, is the third one from the original, from the prequel trilogy, Revenge of the Sith, because I genuinely believe it's like the most emotional, like in like a bad way, like because it's one of the few movies where like the bad guys win for like a long time, and it's very rare in media for that to happen and it be successful. And one, it's got one of my favorite characters finally live action in it. Two, it has some of the best like lightsaber duels like in that movie, period. And three, like the way that it just like culminated and the way you like know what's gonna happen, obviously, because it's the prequel trilogy and it came out well after the original trilogy, where you know already what happens. It's like crazy seeing the fall of the character, and it's crazy seeing like how it becomes to be what then was the original trilogy. So that one will, no matter what movies come out, that one will always be my favorite, especially because me and my dad also went to go see that at the midnight premiere when that shit first was
That's
coming out.
adorable.
Like we had it was a school night and everything. We did not give a shit. I was like, we
I
need to
miss midnight
we
premieres.
I miss them so much. I've gone to two or three. I don't remember fully what the other ones were, but I'll never forget the Star Wars one. Because that one was like we went there and we actually like stood outside like early because there was like mad fucking people.
I went to the midnight premiere of every single Twilight except the first one and the very last one of the second, fourth movie. Because everything got to
Right.
be broken up into fucking double movies.
Every single one. And then they don't even do it right. But yeah, no, we definitely went to go see the midnight premiere for that. And
That's cute.
it was amazing. It was spectacular. Because we actually went to go see all the movies together when the prequel ones were coming out.
That's nice.
So for that one, when they did like this whole big thing at Foxmore Cinema, when that was still like the only movie theater around,
You
uh,
called Foxmore by its government name, bitch.
sure did.
You said Foxmore Cinema,
Because it don't even fucking exist anymore.
aka Pocono Movieplex, aka now it's burnt down.
Right, burnt down, smoldering pile of ashes.
In what order would you recommend watching the Star Wars movie?
Um, I like two different orders. Like I actually, after learning about what people call machete order, I really like that one. And after watching it that way, I do like recommending that one to people, which is where you watch the first two from the prequel trilogy, and then in that type, no, the original. You watch the first two from the original trilogy, and then after the reveal of Vader being Luke's father and stuff, you watch the original prequels, which apparently people say you could cut out the first movie. I would never. Then you watch the prequels, and then you come back to the fourth one with the final one of the original trilogy. So you'd watch 4, 5, and then 1, 2, 3, and then 6, and then 7, 8, 9. Obviously, don't impact how you watch that because they're in the future, so you can't watch them really in any different order for that. Otherwise,
Right.
I would just say the other viewing order is obviously watching the original trilogy first, then the prequel trilogy, and then the new ones. And I also say watch the originals first because, like, as much as I love them and they're some of my favorite movies, they're a little slow.
They are.
They are a little slow, and I know that. So when I tell people like to watch them for the first time, I'm like, listen, it's not some like it's great if you're like a fan, but it's a little slow for like how it is now, and I would not want them remade. So that's not even a question. But if you saw like the prequels first and you see all these Jedi and all these lightsaber battles and all this shit, and you go in that one and there's like one fucking Jedi, you're like, oh, it's just fucking space battles. Like, oh, okay. Which I'm okay with, but I also want Jedi and I want the Force powers and the lightsabers and all of that. So
Right. Right. Okay. Who's your favorite character from Star Wars?
So for me, that one is always a tie answer because I genuinely cannot pick. And when I've seen them interact with each other, it solidifies why they're my favorite. So that's Darth Maul from the first one of the prequel trilogy. He was the first Sith Lord that kills Qui-Gon, and then Obi-Wan kills him. Or you think, because he ends up surviving, and he's alive in mad fucking media, and you're just like, oh, okay, I guess everybody loved this character so much too that they're just not gonna. He becomes like a robot spider and gets like robot legs and all kinds of crazy shit. Has like this crazy brother. It's crazy. He's crazy, right? But one of the coolest facts about him was his actor that played him is like this crazy master martial artist. I fucking forget his name. When I do the timestamp, I'll put his name there. But he's like won like tournaments that are like the equivalent of like Mortal Kombat tournaments in the real world. So like he's pretty badass. And then my two other favorite characters that were introduced in the Clone Wars series that only one of them made it to the movies, which I'm a little upset about, but you know, whatever, are Asajj Ventress, who is this actually, you know what? I have a picture of her. This is Asajj Ventress. She was trained by Count Dooku to be like a dark Sith assassin, and she fights with two lightsabers that she can also connect them to be double bladed. So she's one of my favorite characters. She's actually a Night Sister. You learn more about them in the Star Wars Fallen Order and Survivor series. They do like like magic. Like they have their own brand of like types of magic and stuff. But I also have this pop of Darth Maul, so I'm gonna show that one off too. So he is actually what's considered a Night Brother, which you end up learning, and they're like subservient to the Night Sister race, which is ruled by a matriarch called the Night Mother. And they're literally like witches. Like they do crazy powerful like spells and magic and all kinds of shit. They're like on par with like Jedi and shit. So one that ended up getting dark Jedi training, she was very formidable. I don't remember how they finished her off. I don't think they actually killed her. I think she actually was able to escape, and she's like still out there. So like they could do something with her. Um, she was always badass, and her and Obi-Wan always would fight. That's why I was really kind of hoping that she would make it into the third movie, but too many characters. And then my final favorite, who did make it into the third movie, which is another reason why it's my favorite, is General Grievous. And he was introduced originally in a cartoon series of the Clone Wars before they revamped it into the animated series that we know it. And he's a Jedi hunter and killer. And after he was killed, he fought. He was an original thing before the cyborg. He fought against Dooku, and Dooku like damaged him to the point where then he didn't remember that happened, and he rebuilt him with cybernetics, and then trained him in the art of using lightsabers, but he can't use the Force. So without being able to use the Force and without having the abilities that a Force user would have, he has slain enough Jedi to have enough lightsabers to wield one in each of his four hands and still have extras in case those get damaged.
That's crazy.
So he's really cool, and when his appearance in the movie, I was fucking hype as shit. And one of my favorite lines that also is definitely like a stim that like triggers all the time is somebody says hello there, and then they say, you know, like hello there, and then Grievous turns around and goes, General Kenobi. And it's the thing. I can't. Every time, hello there, General Kenobi. When he turns around and they're like, and then they fight. It's an awesome action scene. I like that scene in the movie. So that's one of my. So my three favorite characters are definitely Darth Maul, Asajj Ventress, and General Grievous because they're just so fucking cool characters. Darth Maul also fights with a double-bladed lightsaber, and when I first saw that in the theaters, I went wild.
That's awesome. How do you feel about the new Star Wars that have come out? Do you feel that they're as good as the originals or the early 2000s? Why do I feel like a fucking anchor?
Because you are. That's news reporter right now.
In other news,
I liked them as like media, like as more Star Wars media, because I saw what they were like planning on doing for the story, like obviously, like the route that it was gonna take. And then because they had to switch directors, and the directors were like, "Oh, I'm gonna do this instead of just like continuing the story or like working with what was already made." You can see like the way everything like kind of jumped around, that it was like there was kind of like, what is it, incohesive, right? That's the word, right? It was like incohesive. So like if you watch it all in a row, it almost doesn't really flow together. It's almost like different stories put together. Like I feel like it would have been better for Rey to have been Obi-Wan's lost granddaughter or something. Nah, that wasn't long enough. Yeah, I guess maybe granddaughter. It could have been granddaughter because he had a relationship with Satine when he was younger, so it could have been. And or something related to him. Like I feel like instead of a fucking Palpatine clone, like that was weird. So I like them as what they are, as Star Wars media, but as in connection to the original story, it just doesn't really feel like it fits. Like it really just doesn't feel like it fits. Like it should have been like its own trilogy trying not to so hard connect. Like it could have obviously been based in that universe and in that timeline, but like don't try so hard to be like part of the Skywalker saga. Like it could have just been its own after effect. I feel like that would have done it better.
I don't know too much because I've only seen each Star Wars movies one time. The one time that you had me watch them, and then like one time in the movies for the new ones. So my memory is great on some things and worse on others.
Well, when like you said, when you watch them like as you like the way you did, you don't like for like you don't care as much about the inconsistencies because you're like, oh, I'm just watching movies just to see the story and know it or whatever. Like whereas like me and my cousin literally would watch the original trilogy once a year. We would literally sit down and just watch it, probably even more than just once a year because it was only the 3 movies. And when we were younger, like you had summer vacation and winter break and shit. Me and my cousin spent a lot of weekends together growing up because my mom and his mom are twins. So we used to watch the original trilogy once a year, and then as the new movies came out, we added those in until obviously it became too long to watch all 6 movies like in a day.
Right.
And then adding 3 more, we were like, we're not doing that. But I've seen it all at least once, and I've definitely seen the newer ones. I think I've seen each one once in theaters. The first one I think I saw twice in theaters because I saw it that one time, and then when I was leaving, you were going back in, and you're like, "Oh, the movie just started. You want to come back in and see it?" And I was like, "Yeah." You're like, "There's a seat right next to me." Yeah, you went to get popcorn, and you were coming back, and I was literally leaving, and I was like, "Oh, hey," and you were like, "Oh, hey," and I was like, and you were like, and I was like, "What are you seeing?" And you were like, the new Star Wars, and I was like, "Oh, I just finished that." And you were like, "Oh, it's just starting." Like, I think it's like a few minutes in, like, come in and watch, and then I did.
That is a lot of details to remember. You have good memory. I do not remember
I got
not
to
a
see
single
it. I definitely got
part
to
of that.
see it twice in one day. That was actually one of the first times I've ever had that experience. Actually, so of course with my best friend. So yeah, that's actually good. Because I don't want people to think that they're going to be learning like about me as like a whole human being.
Bitch. So I don't want you to get comfortable and think we're friends. We're jam buds, bro. Not we're jam buds, okay?
You're part of the Jam Bud community, but we're the Jam Buds.
You guys are Bud-ettes and we're the full buds, okay? Okay.
Oh my God, can we call them that? Our little Budettes! Hello, our little Budettes! We're copywriting that.
We're patenting that, you motherfuckers. We'll make merch.
Oh, I need that. See, that's why this podcast is just so amazing. Because like our vibe is just immaculate.
So what do you think is better? Futurama or Disenchantment?
All right.
Now that you found out the guy from the
Right, no, because like I'm actually quite devastated because of the fact that Futurama was my comfort show. And
was he actually doing things with Epstein or
yes, he was
Oh,
on. He was apparently in the files that people had that highlighted his name and stuff. That had girls massaging his feet and other things too. So he was gross.
Oh no.
Yeah, I'm very upset actually about that because Futurama is my comfort show and has been for like the better part of over 10 years because one of the times that I remember really sitting down to watch it like in full was like 2013 maybe. That I discovered it was on Netflix. And I was like, oh shit. And I just literally threw it on and started watching it and then watched it all the way through. And I was like, yeah, I thought this show was great. I love this show. So it's one of my comfort shows. Like I can literally like if I need regulation and I need to see something covered, like that's the show I put on that I can just have on in the background 24/7. So
Right.
Disenchantment was also amazing. And it was like basically it was like The Simpsons was present day, Futurama was obviously the future, and Disenchantment was like the past. So it was kind of cool having like 3 different like I never watched The Simpsons. It wasn't really like my thing, but Disenchantment was really good. And I think it's better in the sense that it's a cohesive story from beginning to end. um like it's not serialized into the point where like Futurama has some overarching story, but there are several episodes that you could watch where it's like, oh yeah, this episode never gets brought up again. Like certain things will never get brought up again that are like major things, and you're just like, um, wasn't that a thing? Like, but that's because I guess it was like following off of The Simpsons, where in The Simpsons, basically every episode is a new like story. So
Right.
they were like trying to get into the story, and then by Disenchantment is good. So I I think Disenchantment is better in that aspect if you're looking for like an actual cohesive story. Um, and Futurama if you're just kind of looking for mindlessly good fun story, because like Disenchantment has a lot of good stuff. Like honestly, there's like action. There is romance. There's drama. Um, like it's really good. Like I could recommend it any day. And for me, Futurama is like one of those things that's got robots, it's got space, it's got fighting, it's got love, it's got sadness, it's got serious, it's got jokes, it's got singing, it's got magic, it's got like everything you can think. It's like Steven Universe, how I say about that. So like Futurama for me was one of those shows that was like just hit all the spots for me. So you know, I'm actually pretty devastated about the creator, writer, whatever the fuck he was, but he was like heavily involved because he's heavily involved in like all three. So
What makes That's how I felt about the creator of wow, the creator of Rick and Morty. Oh, what made you love Futurama?
Um, you know, actually, but I think what really pulled me into it the most was well, I love Katie Seagal.
Oh, I love Katie Sagal.
No,
I
like
fucking love her.
that was already it. Honestly, the first like because I'm trying to remember what like if I like how I had just caught it randomly before. I must have just caught it when it was like randomly on and never got to play one. But when I fully sat and watched it, like at true of my core, like I really am like kind of like a hopeless romantic, and like I like big romance, like doing stupid romantic gestures, and that's how Fry is. And he was like really in love with Leela, which was Katie Seagal's character,
Hmm.
um, and like he was so in love with her, he wrote her a love letter in the stars by like moving
Oh,
stars, like like that type of shit. So like I liked that. All the characters were like really likable, like they're really funny. They all have their place in the show. Um it just yeah, no, it just really like gripped me right from the beginning. It was just interesting. Like it's an
it
interesting
gets you.
concept. Like you accidentally get frozen and you're in the future in 1,000 years from now. And the world actually has evolved, and like there's aliens and mutants and robots and flying cars and all alien and other planets that can just fly coming to and fro. Like it was a cool concept. I love sci-fi, so it was just yeah. It was pretty much like the sci-fi element was like always guaranteed to hit me.
That's nice. Who's your favorite character?
Dr. Zoidberg.
I'm crying.
Gotta do it. Whenever they hit him or like chase him away, he goes scuttling away doing that. Looking through his
I'm
claws. Because he's a giant
crying.
crab. Yeah, he's the best. He's the punchline character. But he actually has some really good moments. Um there's actually a few storylines of his that touch a little deeper on him. Where it's like, oh, you're kind of not just like an idiot. Like you're actually kind of secretly a little bit have a little bit more going on than people think, don't they?
Well, I fucking hope he's a doctor, no?
Mm, well.
Oh, well, that says a lot. That says a lot.
Actually, you know, as many times as I've watched it, I'm not sure if there ever is an episode that even touches on that.
I'm crying.
They swear they say that he's what he is an alien, like he's an alien doctor, so he doesn't really know shit about humans. But That's what they like show him work on. So he's like incompetent.
Bitch.
But I mean, Dr. Zoidberg, they do call him doctor all the time, so I imagine that he must be. That's funny. You know, as many times as I've watched that show, I've never actually thought of that. That's so funny. But yeah, no, he's my favorite character either way.
Like, well, it doesn't matter. That's my man. And then tell me about your favorite anime.
My favorite anime is One Piece. Can I show the wall? I don't know if I can really show the wall right now. You know what? I can show you. Let's see if I can turn it a little bit. I can just like. So I have my display wall of my One Piece stuff. Am I going the wrong direction? No, I'm going the right direction. This big poster of One Piece, the One Piece characters in the Wano arc. And then the pops, obviously the straw hat, the sacred straw hat, Luffy's brother Ace, and then I can go up a little higher for it. The straw hat, all the straw hats, and then Luffy in his Gear 5 form. So yeah, One Piece is my favorite anime. Collecting each of those pops and having each of them delivered as they were coming was just like an amazing feeling. Like getting each one to put on each of them shelves. Brook was the fucking hardest one. That version of Brook. It was super rare, and even at Walmart, they wanted like $30 for it. So like, it was not a cheap. Like he was a little bit pricey to find for some reason. I have another one of him in his samurai outfit, but that's like behind some things, so I'm not gonna grab that right now. But you know, One Piece definitely my favorite anime. I've watched it since it started airing over 20 years ago now. I don't know if it hit 25 yet. It might have.
Didn't it start in 99?
It was 99, wasn't it?
So it would be 25 this year.
Yeah, no, One Piece is definitely my favorite anime. I actually really also like the live action, and I like that it brought more fans into the anime.
Do you think it's worth to binge watch One Piece?
Absolutely. Matter of fact, I just did a binge watch again not that long ago.
That's insane. And you rewatched the whole thing?
Well, I rewatched the whole thing. Well, at this point for me, I skip fillers.
Fuck?
And you know what's crazy? Because I even had this conversation with somebody else before. When you do all the when you skip the recap, the end credits, and even sometimes, because I'll watch an intro, like when I wasn't trying to speed watch it, like I'll watch the intros, but when I was trying to just bullet out the episodes, with how much bullshit they do with the recap, the episodes are like 15 minutes long.
I still couldn't sit long enough to watch that many episodes back to back to back.
You don't even have to watch. It's actually because it ends up being so short when you do the skipping. It literally just becomes like Steven Universe episodes. But that's if you're actually just sitting there to actually watch it. Otherwise, you could just throw it on in the background because since so much of it is recap, opening, and blah, 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 when something's actually happening, then you can turn and look at it and watch it. Which is why
I see a lot of memes about the different camera angles. Like it shows you 75 different camera angles of one thing. Is that true?
I mean, not any more than any other anime does. It doesn't really. I mean, it does. The only problem that every anime really ever has is when they start doing things where they choose a character that requires flashbacks. But the way that One Piece, and that's why, like, I'm kind of glad that they're doing. I guess it's a remake, because what they're doing is like they're streamlining it, so they're cutting away all the bullshit, so that newer viewers that want to watch the anime don't have to watch the original from way back then. Which, like, it's still fine because I watch it and I thought it was still great, but I also am a biased fan that have watched it since day one. But even if you watch, I even did the math. Like it was like a few hours, not even like more, it wasn't even more than like 4 hours a day, and you can watch the entire like 1,000 episodes that was at the time in like 6 months, give or take, depending.
I don't even
But
have 4 hours a day to myself.
well, that's why binge watching it. If you can't really binge watch shows, if you don't really have like time to really sit and binge watch, it's not going to be really like an anime that has 1,000 episodes. If you're going to binge something, you're going to try to binge something that's like 12 episodes, so you can just get
Right,
it done
right.
and then not have to keep coming back to it. But I I recommend it as a binge watch, but I also recommend it as like a regular watch because of the fact that if you do the skipping and clearing through stuff, each like I said, each episode is like 19 minutes tops after everything, but they're usually about 15 minutes because the opening, the credits, and the recap is like a huge chunk of the already limited half hour or whatever it was that it was even on the time block, like on
Right.
shows. So, um, but that's also why sometimes for people who are a little bit more limited on time, I recommend that they look up One Pace, um, which basically is One Piece without the filler, any filler. Like there is no extra dialogue, repeated dialogue. The fight scenes are there and stuff, and like the main points are there, and you're able to catch up a lot faster than watching it. But I also think that watching it, you get to appreciate, all the stuff. But
Right.
I do think that everybody should at least give it a try. Um, because it does have really good writing. There's a lot of really emotional scenes. And it's got really fantastic world building. It's got some of the best world and lore building that I've seen in a lot of anime.
That's awesome. What, if anything, have you learned from watching One Piece?
Um, always stand up against oppression and tyranny. Always do what's right. Help people in need. Um, take care of your friends. Rely on your friends. Um, there's been a lot of really like good lessons because like Luffy is really just like he just wants like to be free. So living your life in a way that grants you freedom, I think is important.
Right.
Um, and yeah, no, be good to people around you. And yeah, no, the main one is really just always stand up against oppression and tyranny because he does not tolerate someone saying that they're in charge of other people or that like they're the bosses or anything like that because you don't own another human being ever.
Correct. Correct, Amundo. Do you hear that, y'all? You don't fucking own people. God bless. Okay. And then what devil fruit would you want to be yours?
So if I got to have one from the show, unfortunately, sorry, Kizaru, but I'm taking the glint glint fruit because I want to be able to turn into light and fire laser beams and have laser swords and travel and move and fly at the speed of light and be intangible. Like I want that.
That's
If I'm
pretty
able
cool.
to like make up one that I could like generate and have because apparently that wouldn't be impossible lore wise from what I'm learning as I'm catching up back again in the manga. From where they came from is I would like some variant of like a CC fruit where I can control water and turn into water as a Logia type. Same as like the Glint Glint being a Logia type where you can like turn into the element. I would like that. And I haven't seen that in the show at all because usually the whole point of devil fruits is if you take one, you can never swim again.
Oh shit.
If you have a devil fruit and you fall into the ocean, you'll literally just sink
Oh damn.
and like you can't move. So if a fish man eats a devil fruit and they fall into the ocean, they'll never die until they just like starve to death, I guess, because they can just breathe down there forever, but they won't be able to really move
Well, that's awful.
because the sea takes their strength. There's going to be an explanation for that eventually with what's coming to be revealed. So I know that that'll be revealed at some point. But I think a devil fruit that even if it doesn't, even if you still are affected by the sea and you're only freshwater, I take it. Like even if salt water fucked me up, like if they literally could just fuck me up by throwing salt at me and it getting in my water, I'd be okay with that being my weakness. I really genuinely, I want to be able to turn into water and control water.
I'm crying.
So yeah, I love One Piece because it's pirates, and I've definitely always been hyper fixated on pirates for as long as I can remember. Just the freedom of the open sea. I don't really want to like invade people or anything like that, but I definitely want a
Right.
crew to like run around and like I don't know battle other pirates maybe into the death and walk the plank and sing sea shanties.
That would be cool.
That
All right, so that's it. That's all the questions.
is all the questions. So yeah, that is a little bit about some of my favorite hobbies and like interests of things because like I've been interested in those things. If not all of my life, majority of yeah, because like Marvel and Star Wars are definitely as long as like earliest memories. Futurama has definitely been like over 10 years now, and One Piece has been since Tsunami days in the '90s.
That's crazy.
So
Can you
yeah,
believe how old we've gotten?
I don't like to believe in that. Um, so yeah, this was I think this was a good episode. We definitely had fun. Definitely a lot of laughs. Not all the laughs will make it into the final version. Sorry, you'll have to pay for that one day. Um, and yeah, this is Blazing Dragon signing out. And next episode, we'll definitely be doing this reversed with Madam Weird.
Have a good night, you lovely batches. We're gonna call you. What are we gonna call you,
Are we gonna call you our
Bud-ettes?
little Bud-ettes? Yeah, we're gonna go with that. Yeah, little Bud-ettes. Yeah, little
Little
Bud-ettes. Oh,
Bud-ettes.
I love that so much. Oh my god, yeah, no, we definitely gotta get that going. Oh, our Bud-ettes for our jam buds. Yeah, but we're the jam buds. Don't ever forget it. You're just our Bud-ettes. Okay, we love you though. Good night, bye.
Bye.